Welcome to the 8th class of the series. In this lesson, we will through the details on how to create an explosion effect following the steps of the past one. Like always, this lesson picks up where the last one ended and the code is on the description. We will start by creating a new class which we will name Explosion Effect. Like other elements that are rendered in the game, we will make it extend from the game entity class. Compared to the previous effect, we will be adding a few more properties. My goal is to show you different ways in which you can build components and how to customize them. This effect will have a size property that will determine more or less the maximum dimensions of it. Like before, there will be quite a lot of randomization. On the load function, we will create a random number of particles with different properties. Once again, we will use the dodecahedron geometry and the foam material. The idea for this effect is that each particle flies away from the center on a random direction. We will also define a random size and rotation to make it different every time. It's important to notice we are going to be cloning the geometry. The angle determines the direction this particle will use. It's going to be a value between 0 and 360 degrees. This time I wanted to have a really randomized size. Feel free to change this the way you like it. Once we have all the random properties, we can modify the geometry. Just remember to clone it. Just like before, we will create a mesh and store the random values we will use on the update function. The update method will look very similar to the one we use on the shooting effect. The first thing to do is to update the current duration. If the effect has ended, we will mark it to be disposed of. Besides moving each particle from the center, we will also reduce their size as the effect progresses. The code for moving each particle should be familiar by now. Based on the random values we created, we can calculate the movement and add it to the particle position. We also need some code to free up resources once the effect has ended. This again is very similar to the previous effect. We are ready to create the explosion now. We will do so on the bullet class, more specifically on the code that detects a collision has happened. We can test again now, and if we did everything right, the bullets should produce an explosion once they hit something. This lesson was shorter, and I hope it was more familiar than previous ones. The goal this time was to show a different way of creating effects with the use of random values and simple shapes. In the next lesson, we will start working on a very simple code to add enemies to the game. As always, thank you for watching, and until the next one.